started making my own projects as well, because I felt very limited by the things that I was being sent out to audition for and the roles I was getting. So I decided to take matters into my own hands, and I started writing screenplays and short films and things like that. And now, today, I've authored 2 books, and I just finished the 17th rewrite of a thriller film that I hope to produce next year.
What was it like you've been an actress, but now you're producing this film?
Mm-hmm.
And what are some of the, like, what's it like doing actress and producing both?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, it's something you kind of learn as you go. Luckily, I mean, this was the first feature film I produced, but the previous, 8 years, I had been making short films and poetry videos, telling little stories on film based on some of the poetry I wrote. And so I dabbled at, and I actually wrote and produced a short film 2 years ago. Doing this film, I didn't have like a full staff like a regular feature film would have, co-producers, and they would have assistants and, assistant producers and things like that. Pretty much everything fell on my shoulders when it came to putting the whole film together. The director did, he got some of the props, and he got some of the costumes for some of the cannibal corpses, but pretty much, I was putting together all the people. I was going to the store, putting together all the catering myself, doing the craft service. And then I met Dapper Cadaver one day buying body parts, and then just trying to orchestrate all this stuff. And sometimes I didn't have time to even delve into my acting, and I would show up on set like, oh, what are we shooting today? Because I was so busy planning it that sometimes you can feel like, oh, you maybe didn't give your character enough to do, because you had your producer hat on so long, you didn't take the time to delve into your character work as much as you should. But that may be just my point of view, and because I've gotten a lot of compliments on my work in that film, so maybe I'm just being a little self-conscious. But it is a challenge. It is a struggle. I have a home life. It's not just full-time this. I also have a special needs child that takes up, a lot of my time with the different challenges he has. So, it was kind of a crazy period of time. It was 15 months. We actually worked on shooting this. Shooting on weekends, and because our people, we couldn't really pay most of the people, so, we couldn't have them taking off work Monday through Friday to do it. So it was definitely a labor of love, a learning experience for everyone, but I'm pretty happy with the results.
Yeah, wow.
Have you ever made any films yourself, or attempted to write any scripts or do anything like that in the filmmaking realm?
No. No, but the only thing I've been doing is issuing charity challenges. That's about the only thing I've done on film.
What is issuing charity challenges? What does that consist of?
Well, okay, I'll bring this up since it's a charity. I remember the Ice Bucket Challenge happened a few years ago, and it was a real success. And I kind of got to thinking, wow. If people did this like every year, just think of what it could do to charities, and help, because I know somebody close to me that's got ALS. So, yeah. Well, another one came up after Robin Williams had passed away, and what a blow that was, losing Robin Williams, and he suffered from depression, and who knew? And I've had bouts of depression, not suicidal, mind you, but I've been hit with depression time and time again in my life, and it seems to be something that nobody seems to take seriously.
Right.
And so another challenge came up called the Doubtfire Face Challenge, and I've been throwing that out to people, and what it involves is that for suicide and depression awareness, you film yourself taking a pie in the face, and you nominate 3 people. The good news is I've had some of my interviewees respond to that challenge. I had a Canadian actress who understood it right away, and she did it. I had one of the actresses from the Friday the 13th franchise do it. And I had an author do it, and I've got a former Miss USA who's going to be doing it whenever she gets around to it, and I have other people from horror films lined up to do this.
So this is, in doing this, what is the particular charity that it helps with depression? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, depression and suicide. Basically, and if people want to donate to something, donate to either the American or the Canadian Foundation of Suicide Prevention, you know?
Ah.
And so you just, you take a pie in the face, you shoot it on your iPhone or whatever, and you nominate 3 people. And I always encourage my interviewees to fire at least one nomination out to somebody in the industry so you can get that. Yeah.
No, when people do these challenges, I always wondered, how does someone getting ice dumped on them or a pie in their face, how does that get money to the charity? What is the correlation? Do people see you put a pie in your face and that makes them want to donate, or how does that work?
I'm not sure how it works, but it did it for ALS, so...
They did, but I see one of those videos, I'm like, okay, they got ice dumped on them. How is the charity getting helped by that? I mean, I guess the awareness aspect of it, saying you're doing this for this, and then maybe people go look up that particular charity. But I always wondered how that actually makes an impact, how that makes a difference. My son, a lot of times they'll have school fundraisers and buy this chocolate to help the school fundraiser, or go to El Pollo Loco tonight because 20% of the profits are going to the school. And I always just thought, why am I going to go eat at a Pollo Loco? Can't I just give the school $10, rather than, spending $50 and they get $10? I don't know. I'm kind of like, why have the middleman?
I don't know, but the videos are entertaining, so.
Yeah, well, that's true. And the topic of suicide and depression is close to my heart because I've also struggled with that in the past. And when we found about Robin Williams, that was a blow because, everybody looked up to him as just someone who made their lives so much happier, and he brought such joy with the roles he played. And I don't know, it kind of makes you reflect on your own, when somebody of that caliber, and especially someone he wasn't known for doing heavy films, dark films, or depressing films, but kind of like they always say, the clown is the saddest person in the room.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's up to you if you want to do the challenge. If it's more than welcome. It's up to you. I never pressure people.
No, I'm such a results-oriented person. I would have no problem getting a pie in my face. I just would want to know it was like actually going to make a difference. How is that your? I think people might be better off if you challenge each person to give $5 to that organization. It just might work out better than spending $5 on a pie.
Yeah, but you know what? Doing a video where you challenge people to give $5 to a charity, not too many people are going to hit on that.
No, I suppose you're right.
Yep.
You might have something to that. The shock effect.
Like I said, the ALS challenge, I don't know how much that made, but it made a lot. And I just got to thinking, if this happened with every charity, I imagine there could be some solutions to a few things, but... Yeah. Yep. But who knows? But I'll leave that with you. You either do or you don't, and I won't judge you either way. But
well, thank you.
You're welcome. So I just wondering, is there any? Well, I mentioned this charity. Is there any charities that you're involved in?
I've got several that I support. One of them that I supported recently, and they had me come speak at one of their galas, was called With This Ring. And that's an organization where people get rid of their wedding rings. And
well, people are doing that anyway.
People are doing that anyway, but even people who are happily married, which I am, get rid of your wedding rings for a better cause. There's people dying all over the world who don't have clean drinking waters. And what they do is they auction off people's wedding rings, and they use that money to provide clean water drinking wells to kids in Africa, Guatemala, India, all over the world who, families who don't have clean drinking water. So I thought, gosh, I don't need a diamond on my finger when people are dying of contaminated water all over the world. So I guess for me, it's finding a charity you can support on a regular basis that is close to your heart, that's close to the things that you care about in life, and what is it that you have just laying around your house that you don't need, that you could sell, that you could donate, that you could, something that's just sitting there that's not making a difference. I buy a little $10 cubic zirconium ring from the just throwaway jewelry store if I need to play a wife in a movie so I can, have one. I guess my challenge would be just to have people consider others more often, and when they look at the excess they have in their life, what is it that do you really need that, $5 Starbucks today, or could you just get like a plain one for $2 without the extra froth and, soy milk and all the special stuff, and put that extra $3 away to organizations for people who don't have it, as good as you do.
Yeah. I know one thing I did when any of my interviewees did the Doubtfire challenge, I would always, in return, I'd donate to one of their charities. And that always allowed, I always did that. It allowed some other charities to get supported.
The Doubtfire challenge, is that the pie in the face?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you called it that. I love that.
Yeah, that's what they called it.
Okay, and you originated this?
I didn't know. Somebody else did, but I used to, when I grew up, I used to.
Passing it on.
Well, I loved that kind of humor growing up. I used to watch all that Nickelodeon stuff, people being slimed and stuff like that, and I used to love that kind of stuff, and I don't see it enough anymore. So, yeah.
We're all too dignified now to get pies in the face.
Huh?
I said everyone's too dignified now to get pies in the face.
Not some of my interviewees, no.
No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
Some of them.
But there is something about. I don't know. In some ways in filmmaking, there's been a lot of heart has been lost in the humor, a lot of the slapstick, a lot of the heart. Now it's like they've wanted to push the envelope so far that it's more like grotesque and shock value, and I don't know. It's not as classy of humor as what we had in the 40s and the 50s, and just thinking of some of the comedies I've watched recently, like gosh, what was that one? Why Him? Did you ever see that comedy?
Which one?
Why Him with James Franco.
Oh yeah, I loved it. I went to it 3 times.
You did?
Yeah.
And just a difference in the humor and the quality. I mean, the guy swimming, it gets stuck in a container full of like animal urine, and like big balls land. I mean, stuff like that where you're like, have we really come to this?
It's James Franco. What do you expect?
I love James Franco. He is a great poet. I've read at least one of his poetry books, and I don't know. He's a cool guy, and he takes chances, and that's
Yep.
You take chances, and that's what you do, and you make a difference and an impact, and everyone's got their own. I mean, I did things that were shock value too. What can we say? We're all trying to find our way in this world and how we're going to leave that mark. It's like we all individually are our own cans of spray paint, and there's walls everywhere. And when we die, what will our legacy be? There's a wall, and how will we tag it? What's going to be our mark that's left on the world, you know?
I don't know. I just, my plan is to get into heaven, and then I won't have to worry about anything going down on here and how any unnamed president screw up and everything.
Yeah, and speaking of heaven, if you do believe that there is a higher power or a God out there, you kind of realize that no matter who's in the office, things are going to kind of work out. And sometimes the media and things get hyped up to be more than it maybe really is. I know some things get pushed under the rug and some things don't get talked about. But if you really trust that there is something greater out there, some divine creator that made you for a purpose, some of those other things become a little less significant and not something to get all worked up about. You know, if you really trust that there's a heaven and if you put your trust in that God, things are going to work out in the end, then a lot of the things become a little less dire to worry about because you have a different kind of purpose and connection.
There you go.
Well, we talked about everything today.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? It's been fantastic talking to you, and I do hope that Cannibal Corpse Killers, I hope it gets a wide release. Is it going to get a wide release, or is it just going to be limited?
You know, we're still figuring that out. I've got it with 3 different distributors right now, and I don't know which distributor we're going to go with, who's going to offer us the best plan. They were talking about possible, like a limited release in 8 theaters, and then, you know, so I don't know if it'll be, you know, if it's going to be like a Netflix, Hulu, Amazon thing, or if it's going to be, you know, on a Sci-Fi Channel or HBO. I have yet to find out, but maybe by the time your show airs, you'll check CannibalCorpseKillers.com, and there'll hopefully be some info on there of where you can find the film.
Yes, hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? It's been great chatting with you today. It's I appreciate Steve Joyner connecting us. And some of these films, like I said, I would like to check out, particularly Reality Terror Night. I'm very interested in that.
Cool. You can rent that on Amazon, so have at it.
There you go. But we are kind of closing down on our time because I know that you got to meet your kid at the bus. You told me that the other day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't want you to be late for that. Well, Catherine, I hope Cannibal Corpse Killers does well. I hope it is a success for you. I hope you continue in producing as well as acting. I don't know what the ratio of female producers are in the industry right now, but it's always nice to see, you know, especially female directors and whatnot, taking a little behind the scenes and going with it. So I commend you for that, and still taking the challenge of acting in front of the screen as well. And you managed to do it without being on the shrink couch like Woody Allen is, like most of his movies.
Right?
Isn't that what Woody Allen does? He acts and writes and directs.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's getting to be more like that in this industry where people are wearing multiple hats. There's actors that just are refusing to just sit back and wait for their agents and managers to get them out, and they're taking matters into their own hands in a way that maybe you weren't able to do 20 years ago because film was so expensive. And now people can make an entire movie on their iPhone and get distribution. So the doors have been blasted wide open.
Absolutely. Well, Catherine, I bid you a great day. I thank you so much for coming on here and blessing us with your presence. And like I said, I hope to go to the theater and see one of your movies. I hope that you are able to elevate to even bigger things.
Absolutely. And thank you again.
Absolutely. God bless.
Hey there, it is Katherine Norland. I hope you enjoyed that video. And if you did, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. And if you guys think that this video would bless somebody else or that they need to hear it, please hit the share button. And There's a little bell button too where you can be notified whenever I have a video that comes out so you don't miss a thing. I appreciate you guys. Remember, always live true, love hard, shine bright, and I will see you in the next video.